That is in addition to our system over there where you put in your code before this did your thing. It gives you credit for each class that you achieve or you participate in. So when I'm evaluating students, especially my white belts, my newer students, I'm not always looking for complete technical proficiency, right? Because it's much about we're learning, we're not necessarily mastering the technique yet, but we're starting to grasp it. So much of how I evaluate the white belts is just based on attendance, right? If you do some of the classes a time or two, I know that you're starting to integrate certain creative concepts, right? And then as we move towards our blue belt and certainly our upper level belts, now it all becomes an eye test. Like it's how efficient is your jiu-jitsu? What does your jiu-jitsu look like against someone of equal rank and size and strength, right? So I don't want to say that the white belt stuff is just about attendance, because it's not. But attendance is meaningful. It tells me that you're committed to the process. And if you stay committed to the process, I know you're going to learn because the system has just verified itself. Like, I know if you stick to this, in due time you're going to get it, right? So it is largely about your attendance here in the early part. And again, later on, then it's all about how efficient is your jiu-jitsu, how clean is your jiu-jitsu, how effective is your jiu-jitsu. So I really pay attention to your attendance here, right? And to that point, after every 20 classes, I give people a stripe on their belt to indicate, hey, you achieved this mark, right? And this milestone. It's once a recognition of your efforts, but also it gives me a visual, right? Because many times, especially in the winter months, these classes can be very packed. And so if I just quickly look and I see 3 stripes on her belt, I know she's done 60 classes at least. So I know if I need someone to be a partner with someone who has lesser experience, I can see that she's experienced. I'll put her with someone who can help me, a coach moving forward. So the stripes not only award you for your efforts, but they're a visual for me. They kind of indicate for me how far along you are in the process, right? And eventually you do enough, you end up like Christine, you get that blue belt, and then you keep going and you get the purple belt, and you keep going and you end up like Tay and you get the brown belt. To that end, guys, there's someone here in class today who, over the last 6 months or so, who's just been like incredibly throwing themselves into grappling, right? So they did like 100+ grappling matches over the winter. Over the past 3 or 4 months, they've done 50-some jiu-jitsu matches. Over the past weekend, I think it went 7-1 and won a couple of 2, 3, 4 gold medals, losing only 1 match, winning only 7. And this person is active not only in our beginner classes, but they also sometimes show up for some of our all levels classes. They show up for many of our kick classes as well. So I want to recognize Sawyer. Come on up here. It's not just about how long you've been doing jiu-jitsu, right? It's about what are you doing with that time, When you're on the mat, are you actively working to develop your technique and get better, or are you more concerned about winning? There's some people I know that say, hey, I've been training jiu-jitsu for 15 years, but in terms of mat time, when they started and they trained for 6 months and then they disappear for 10 years, and they come back and they've been semi-active for the last handful of years, At the end of the day, how much time are you spending on the mat? He's only been training for maybe 6 months, but he spent a tremendous amount of time on the mat, and that's what's allowing him to progress so fast. So we're going to go ahead and recognize him here today. And then the rest of you, if you know that you're approaching that 20 class mark or 40 class mark, you should know by counting your lessons on your card. Make sure you inform me and let me know. Earn your belt, we'll make sure you get your recognition as well. Thank you, sir. Any words of encouragement to your team?
Thanks, Coach Scott, Coach TJ, and Christine, and all my partners and teammates.
Awesome. And not only does this guy come to train here, but he also trains at one of our close friend school at 10th Planet, Bloomsburg. So this guy is always on the mat. So guys, that's that. Let's break out our groups and get repping some of our techniques. If you need any help, just call me out. We'll be around this issue. Ready?